4 scrub hats. Which one is best?
Hey guys, Dr. Lili here with My Pocket Pediatrician. As you know, I've been doing a lot of tutorials about masks and how to make the best mask. And since I started doing that, I've had a lot of requests from different healthcare workers asking me for hats and asking me if I had a good pattern for the best hat. And to be honest, I don't think I've made a scrub hat since I was in medical school, so I started looking at different patterns and trying to figure it out.
So if you're like my husband and wondering why on earth people need to wear hats now, I've got a few good reasons to share with you. One, if you have long hair and your hair is down or in a ponytail and somebody coughs in your hair and then your hair comes around and touches your face, you just got contaminated. Obviously, anybody working with patients is now wearing their hair up, but you can still have little loose ends of hair that can come out, and when you try to adjust it, you're again touching your hair and your face. So you want to avoid touching your face and your hair as much as possible while at work. And having a hat on is an easy way to remind yourself not to touch your hair. Also, a lot of healthcare workers have been complaining about having skin breakdown because the ear loops that go around can damage the skin behind the ears. So on any of the models I'm going to show you, you can add buttons on the back, and it's a quick and easy way to make a place for the ear loops to attach without having to touch the skin. Also, since you can't get a filtering mask with a tight seal to the face with ear loops, most people are wearing N95s if they're available. Some of the N95s have a nice soft elastic that goes around them, but some of them have something that's more like a rubber band that can pull and catch your hair, and it can actually get pretty painful after a while. If you're in close contact with patients, you should be wearing goggles, you should be wearing a face shield. You might have 3 or 4 different things on your head, and all those straps can wear out your hair, your skin, everything else. So having a hat on can actually just be a little extra layer of protection for any healthcare worker. I've even been trying to figure out how to make a face shield that can Velcro directly onto the hat itself so that you get rid of one of those straps.
So what I decided to do for you was I made 4 different styles of hats, each with a couple of different options on them, and I'm going to give you a comparison and contrasting between the 4, and you can decide what's going to work best for you. Now, the nice thing about hats is that they don't have to be perfect. It's not like a mask where you need a tight seal to the face or anything like that. When we're making hats, we're thinking more about style and comfort, not as much about the functionality of it, because if it covers your head, it covers your head, and that's all you really need. So what I'd love for you to do is vote in the comments which one is your favorite style. And on May 15th, at random, I will select one person who commented, and they will get all 4 styles of hats. So 4 hats, and I'll mail them to your house for free.
Also, I took these pictures of each of the style of hat that I made. So I actually posted this poll on 3 different Facebook groups for healthcare workers, and I got over 300 responses. But I've got their answers of what style they prefer at the end. I was actually surprised, and there was a very clear preference for one style of hat. So I'll have those results for you at the end of the video.
So watch carefully, decide which one you think is the best, and whoever votes will be entered in the contest to win 4 free hats from me, and I'll ship them directly to you for free.
So there are 4 videos on the different scrub hats that I've made, and you can go to each of those for more details. But what I'm going to do here is give you just a really quick summary of each hat, how easy or hard it is to make it, what goes into it, and then I'm going to go over what people actually voted for. All 4 of these patterns are designed to be made with 100% cotton. Our healthcare workers often have a whole lot of hot and sweaty gear on them, so we don't want to make them even hotter or sweatier by using a polyester blend fabric. So before I do anything with all 4 patterns, I need to wash and dry my cotton to make sure that it's pre-shrunk and ready to be used. So the first hat we're going to talk about is called the Simple Scrub Cap. This is a cap similar to what a lot of people will wear in the OR. It is not a great hat if you have a lot of hair. It's a great hat for short hair. You don't need a lot of materials for it. This is the basic shape, so you just need 1 rectangle, 1 circle, and 2 small ties. I'm cutting that skinny strip, which is going to make my tie, and then I just cut out the 8-inch circle and the strip. Here I'm taking that long skinny strip and running it through a bias tape maker so I can make my ties, and I'm cutting them into 7-inch strips. Then what I'm going to do is take my rectangle, put a tie in the center of it, fold it over, and I'm just going to stitch that tie in place on the right sides of the fabric. Run down just a quick straight stitch on each side. Turn it right side out, iron it, and then I'm just going to put that rectangle all the way around my circle. So just another really quick straight stitch all the way around the edges. And that's it. This hat is so easy. It hardly uses any materials. There's no elastic in it, which is nice. And it's a very quick and easy, simple hat. The next hat I'm going to talk about is called the Simple Circle Bouffant Cap. This is another very easy hat. It's very easy to conceptualize, but unfortunately it doesn't score high on style. It is kind of a shower cap look to it. For materials, basically I need 1 16-inch circle and 2 16-inch rings. So you just need to cut yourself a 16-inch circle template. To save materials, I fold my fabric at that 16 inches, and then I just cut out 2 circles on the fold so I can save one of those circles for later. Then I'm going to cut that into a ring that's 4 inches wide. Basically, I'm going to sew my inner seam together. Then I'm going to take a piece of elastic, which is about 14 inches long. And using a zigzag stitch, I'm going to cover about 2/3 of my hat with that elastic. So there's a flat part in the center, which is going to be for the forehead. I'm going to turn it right side out. I'm going to stitch over my elastic again. And now all I'm going to do is attach that double ring to my circle by sewing all the way around. This hat is very simple, very quick and easy. There's another option to do it without elastic, which I have in the video for it, so you can do it using a tie as well. You can make this hat in about 5 minutes. It's a very easy hat. The next hat that I have nicknamed the Mullet, and that's because it's sort of a combination of the first 2 hats. It's a little bit of business in the front and party in the back, so it looks like the scrub cap in the front, but the back has the bouffant so that you have a little bit more room for your hair. The hardest thing about making the tutorial for this hat was trying to figure out how to describe these shapes. So after a lot of trial and error, I was able to figure out this template, and you can just place your pattern on the center fold. So I cut my pieces. I'm just cutting 2 because I can use that later, but I only actually need one of those top pieces there. So these are the 2 shapes that I need to make my mullet hat. If I want to mass produce these, I can lay them out like this, and that gives me one of the maximum efficiency for my fabric, so I have very little waste. The mullet is a little harder to conceptualize when you're trying to figure out how to make it. So what I need to do is take my raw strip on the top and process it so that it looks like the one on the bottom, because that one's ready to attach to my top piece. Is trim the edges so I get a rounded edge and the contour, because that's going to be the strap that goes around the back. I'm going to fold it so the right sides are together. I can stitch the ties to the back and then turn it right side out. And then all I have to do is finish the edges on the hat, running along all the raw edges so it's finished. Then I'm going to take my circular rectangle piece. I only need about 4 inches of elastic here, so I'm going to attach that right there, stretching while I sew to the flat edge. And then what I'm going to do is take my strap, attach the short raw edge of my strap to that circle. Obviously that circular piece is way too big, so I need to put pleats in it so that it goes down to be about the right size. So I'm putting in 3 pleats that are each about 1 inch, and just do a simple straight stitch all the way around. I'm leaving the edge that had the elastic on it untouched. That's going to be sort of a freestanding edge on the back of the hat. And that's it. My hat is done. It's actually pretty easy and quick. I've made about 35 of them this week. And it really didn't take me long. Once you get going in the process of it, they can go pretty quickly. When I wear this hat, I really like how the thick band just feels very secure. The hat does not move at all. And I also like that I know my hair is not coming out the back. It's a secure hat, and it's very functional and cute. And so the 4th and final hat that I'm going to show you is so adorable. It's called the So Easy hat. It's from a sewing channel called So Easy. You can see the lady is wearing one there. And this hat kind of has a similar style to the mullet hat, although it is reversible and it does use ties. So you can see that this hat does use more material than the others. It actually works out to about 2/3 of a yard, but you just cut some 18-inch strips of fabric. This fabric is 44 inches wide, or she also uses fat quarters if you have those, but if you're going off the bolt, you can just cut your own. And then for my band, I just need a 4-inch strip, and I'm going to just use a different color there. So I have 3 different colors, but you can do it all the same if you want. Then I'm just going to cut one side and round the edges. So in her tutorial, she likes you to put it with the right sides together and kind of sew a tube and then turn it inside out. I actually found an easier way to do it that I did in my video because this was sort of a pain. But either way, you make 2 tubes for your tie, and then you use 8 inches of elastic, and you're going to sew that 8 inches of elastic into the ends of each of those tubes. Then you're just going to do a little bit on the forehead seam, sew all the way around the edges of your hat, and then you're going to turn it right side out. Now, eventually that elastic and those 2 ties are going to go through a channel all the way around the edge of your hat. So what you need to do is create that channel by doing a simple straight stitch about 1 inch from the edge all the way around the border of your hat. Then I'm going to attach a pin, run it through, and pull my ties all the way through. I'm going to pull them until I have the ties both on the outside and the elastic is what's going through the bottom of the hat now. Then all I have to do is a simple straight stitch across the whole forehead seam, closing that gap that I used for my hands earlier, and attaching my ties securely into the hat. And that's it. This hat is adorable. It looks like something you might see on Little House on the Prairie. It's very cute. I love the style of it. People have also suggested using it for chemo patients, and I really do love the style. I think it's very cute. And you can tie the tie around the back, around your hair, or you can put it around your ponytail in the front. So let's just talk about materials really quick. So for the simple scrub, all you need is your cotton, and you only need about 1/4 yard. Because this simple circle bouffant is so awkward in the cutting, you're cutting circles out of squares, you wind up wasting a lot of material. So that one actually turns out to be about 2/3 yard. For the mullet, if you're going to mass produce it and lay it out the way I showed you, you can actually do it for just about 1/3 yard. And for the So Easy one, you're at about almost 2/3 yard. And this one, you're actually using all that material. There's not any waste. On the simple circle bouffant, I had a lot of wasted material. I had all these 8-inch circles that I was cutting out of the middle of them, and my daughter asked me if I would make one of them into a hat for her doll, so I did, but that probably wasn't the best use of my time, although she was happy with it. And after I made this doll hat, I had the realization that I was actually cutting out 8-inch circles from the middle of those rings. If you're interested in making both the simple circle and the simple scrub, it actually worked out really well to cut them out together. So if you're going to make both, I would suggest laying them out this way because it worked out perfectly using the 44-inch fabric. Now we all know there's a big shortage of elastic, so one of the things I was doing with my mask videos was I was trying out other sources of elastic, and these are headbands I picked up at the dollar store. But for the hats, these actually worked out really well. Got these at Dollar Tree where they're 6 for $1, so it's actually a great cheap alternative if you're looking for elastic, and that way you can save your good elastic for your masks if you're making those. Now, one thing I found out the hard way is that these headbands are all glued together at some point, and that glue is very weak. So I was actually making a So Easy hat using one of these, and after I ran it through, when I got a little tension on the area, it snapped, and I had to go back, rip out my seams, and redo everything. What I would suggest that you do is take your elastic, find the stretchy point, just pull until you can see where that glue spot is. And on these bands, I was actually able to just pull them apart by hand, and that way you don't have a weak spot. With the black ones, they're a lot tougher, and I actually had to use the scissors to cut them. The colored bands came out to about 18 inches, and the black bands came out to about 14 inches. Just using these to make some mullets, you can see one headband gave me enough elastic for 4 hats, plus I had a little bit left over. The black bands, I only had enough for 3, and you can see that little black dot is what was left over after the 3. Now let's get to the vote. So when I pulled those 3 groups, I added it all up, and I got over 300 responses in total, and I was actually shocked that the overwhelming preference was for the simple scrub hat. I had a hard time getting all my hair covered up completely in the back, but I think a lot of the healthcare workers are just looking for something kind of a no-nonsense cap that gets the job done without having a lot of fluffy stuff involved. The second place vote was for the mullet, and then that was followed by the So Easy, and the simple circle was the least popular option, I think just because of the style and the shower cap look to it. So I wanted to make this comparison chart for you so we can see exactly how much fabric each one uses, how much elastic you need because elastic is hard to come by. I put some points in for simplicity, which means it's just easy to conceptualize how to make it, and then I put in points for how popular they are. I decided to kind of make it consumer report style, and then I also added in my own category of cuteness. So coming in 4th place because it uses lots of material, lots of elastic, and is not very popular, we have the simple circle bouffant. Coming in 3rd place is the So Easy hat, only because it does use a lot of materials and is a little bit difficult to conceptualize, but it is very cute and I would wear it. In 2nd place, I have the mullet, and this one was actually my favorite. I've been walking around the house with these hats on for days, and of all the 4, this one I love the best. I like the feel of it, I like the style of it, I like how my hair is in there, but it uses slightly more materials than the simple scrub, and it did lose the popularity contest among the healthcare workers that I polled. So this one gets a 2nd place, although for me it's a 1st place. And then coming in 1st place, we have the simple scrub hat, which was the clear winner in terms of popularity among healthcare workers. It was also the least amount of fabric. It doesn't use any elastic, and it's very easy to conceptualize. If you're making these hats for healthcare workers, you can actually go to my website, mypocketpediatrician.com, and I have a little printable tag that you can put on your hat that explains your hat, how to use it, how to wash it. And it also has a QR code to get to the video on how to make more if you're interested. And now that you've had a chance to watch all 4 of these hats, I'd love to have your vote. All you need to do is scroll down to the comments section and type a comment voting for your favorite hat. And on Friday, May 15th, I will randomly generate a number from the comments and pick a winner. And then that person will win all 4 hats. I will mail them to your house and try them out for yourself without actually having to do all the work of making 4 hats. Let me know what you think. Which one would you like to wear? Which one would you like to make? I'd love to hear from you. Please comment. This is Dr. Lily with My Pocket Pediatrician. Thanks for stopping by.
When the doctor says my child has a condition, I'll learn more at My Pocket Pediatrician.